everybody, and welcome to the Jim and Sam Town Square. I'm Scott King. Jim and Sam fans know me from the Forbes articles, and I'm joined, as always, by multi-Emmy Award-winning television producer Chris Cangilla. This episode recapping week 4 of November 2023. And for me, there is no other way to start this podcast than by diving into the biggest fight in the history of Jim and Sam. 7 years, I think. And there's been some arguments, a lot of razzing, a lot of ribald humor. Chris, when they got into DVD/Blu-ray terms of service, man, did it get heated. I'm going to let you set the table with this.
Yeah, I had flashbacks to Opie and Jim and O&A stuff. I'm like, whoa, this doesn't happen with these guys. I mean, and it's happened in any kind of situation where creatives are working together, and who knows where they're coming from. But yeah, so Sam kind of started it, and they kind of reference that in the conversation. But Sam made the point that he believes that even if you rent a DVD, which people don't do, or buy a DVD, let's say you buy a DVD and you have that DVD, that you don't really own it, that the film company or whoever owns the rights to the actual content owns the DVD, and they're not going to come get it. But that was the point of contention. And Jim wanted to know the terms of service on that. So, Travis was working furiously to find that and not coming up with success. Now, I'll let you take your points on it, but let me just set the table by, in this discussion, I believe that Jim is at fault. I don't think Jim handled it properly. Now, was Travis essy, as he always is? Probably, but that's typical of how Travis is in these situations. I don't know why this one would make Jim more upset. I think Jim was a little harsh on Travis, and it really just grinded this show to a halt. What do you think?
I mean, it did grind it to a halt, but that was so good for the listener, I think, and people have listened from the beginning because it stood out as the biggest fight. I think you're absolutely right. Your breakdown's perfect. I think it's a good talking point because, that's why you can't copy them, because you don't own the content. And I don't know if you ever tried to play an American Blu-ray in Europe or Mexico, but it doesn't work sometimes. If you use the equipment that's in the room, the hotel room, or wherever you're staying, that player belongs to that unit because there's some kind of law agreement or coding thing. Yeah. So it's a good point, but Jim, as you said, Jim is wrong about the arguments. He's not a lawyer. He's not a technology guy. Terms of service is when there's an update on your phone and you click a box. It's not like a blue
and it's so much information that it's all lawyer speak.
It's not like you put a new Blu-ray in, which Sam's always right. You should have physical media. These streamers, there's so many. The rights change all the time. Physical media is where it's at. I'm on a big kick with that. I've been telling my wife. But when you play a new Blu-ray, you don't you're not clicking on your phone. You're not filling out a piece of paper. Just don't copy it. So it was a weird point. And Travis did Google, and we were kind of talking before the show, people's role. Travis has been a producer in that world for a long time. It's weird that he's Googling. I understand his frustration. Montone obviously is doing something there. He probably does a lot. This man on the street stuff, so a little bit more of that.
And he's running the board.
I don't. It seems like they're maybe missing an employee. I don't know why Travis is doing this. I think he's getting frustrated with that. But Jim, again, we don't have the visual because of SiriusXM, so you don't know what else looks are being made. If comments were said before the show, if Travis is essy. But man, you're right about old school, Jim and Opie, Jim, early fights, Jim yelling at callers. Jim was heated because right when they start talking about it, and Travis is like, oh, I don't know, I can't find it. Right when Travis kind of had that tone before he got essy, he searched it, and Jim goes, "Thanks, producer."
Yeah,
I listened to this 3 times. Jim just took it up a notch, and I love a fired up Jim. And then Travis came back kind of with his anger, I don't know what you want me to find.
Yeah, Travis kind of stepped out of his role a little bit and was a little bit more salty. But I don't know. They've given him more room to kind of spread his wings over the last couple of years. So, he feels like probably he's one of the hosts kind of too, where he kind of talks more than most and he kind of gets involved that way. But you and I both have worked in television here, and we both worked, you've been talent, we've worked with talent, and I had flashbacks of that too, that some talent just, I don't know what's going through their mind or their emotion, but, you know, I had the same feeling that Travis had. Travis said at one point, I think he's like, what would you like me to do differently? And I've had that same kind of feeling when I'm working with talent, where I'm like, oh, we should do it this way. Or it's like, where you get frustrated, like, you know what? Solve it yourself. You're a big person. You've been doing, what would you like me to do differently? I'm trying to find the avenue to help you the most. And I love Jim. Don't get me wrong, man. Jim is great. And he's a sweet guy. We even talked about it, you know, with Sam and Nicole when we had them on. Jim is a sweet man. And we
awesome
believe that. I just think he had a bad day. And I was surprised we didn't get an on-air apology from Jim later in the week.
I think you're right. And the other key thing that Travis said, and remember that Travis was not I don't think he was the aggressor or the first to be angry in the situation. I think it was Jim. But Travis, the other thing he said that might provide some insight was something along the lines of, I try so hard every day. Yeah. So
is there something back?
What else is going on with his role? He feels like he's spread a little thin, and he obviously does. And we know he's doing. We've heard them talk about it. It's not just our knowledge, but he's been handling the booking for a while. Rolandos is gone, so he's got to do booking. There's executive producer stuff to do, as you know, with the show as it is. That's a job. He's also booking. He's the Google guy. And we did hear from Sam on, I think he was talking about on the special episode we did with him and Nicole during Thanksgiving week, was that everyone recognizes Travis is great on air, just like Montone, just like Coop. That Thursday before when Jim was out was great because they're all just on mic, no guest host. So he's also on air talent. So I could see his frustration, but again, he didn't really kick this up a notch. That was Jim.
No.
So
and then let's go
really interesting.
Later in the week, you know, this happened, I believe, on Tuesday. So Wednesday and Thursday, I was just kind of listening to see how Travis's interaction. And he was, well, first of all, after this happened on Tuesday, shut down, didn't hear Travis much. And if they asked him a question, it was, I believe that is the case. Yes, it was on a Thursday. You know, it was very monotone, if I can say. But it was very dry and just not Travis. You could tell he was just seething underneath. And then later in the week, like Wednesday and Thursday, even without that apology, he seemed to be very agreeable to Jim. It's like, Jim would say, I believe that happened in 1976. And Travis said, Jim is actually right. Yes, that did exactly happen in 1976. Jim got that one. You know, it's like, it was a little different. It was a little odd.
Maybe a little robotic or so. I think he just wanted to avoid a conflict. I think, again, Jim is the best. Jim has personally been very kind to me. Awesome guy. Arguably the funniest living comedian and radio personality, I would say. And but yeah, he was just upset, I think, about this issue or something going on. Who knows? But he was the person that took it up a notch, and I think Travis is trying to avoid conflict. But it's a good point. He's kind of just very agreeable after that. But
it made the whole week kind of uncomfortable a little bit. I just hope that they regain it later on.
Yeah, I'm sure. We have not. I mean, it's a testament to everybody getting along that we haven't 7 years or so. We have not heard anything anywhere close to this. So, yeah, we'll see, man. It's interesting. You know, speaking of interesting and perhaps satisfying, during Thanksgiving week, those who did not listen, you got to go listen to the bonus episode. We got not only Nicole Ryan, but Sam Wood Roberts did the Jim and Sam Town Square. In that episode we talked about it, but we asked Nicole the time we were supposed to do a few weeks ago. She couldn't make it. When rescheduling the night before, she's like, you want Sam too? Like, yeah, that'd be fine. Great,
sure, we'll take Sam.
So she recruited Sam for us. Like, we probably would have gotten him otherwise. So Nicole is just is so legit. All her communication with me and you, she was so kind. Great episode. Talk about the future Jim and Sam. Sam and Nicole's relationship, just great stuff. You want to give your 2 cents again, Chris?
Yeah, they were so generous with their time. You know, pulling the screen back a little bit. We usually do about a free half an hour Zoom session here to get this recorded. Sometimes we'll go a little longer. Yeah, and we got through the first one, and we thought that was going to be it. And we said, "Hey, you guys, can you stick around?" And Nicole had to go away. It was on a Friday that we recorded, so she was like, "Yeah, I have some more time." And Sam's like, "Sure." So we did a whole other session. So very generous with their time. And one point, and I'm not responsible for this, but I want to think in my own world that I asked Sam about, photos of his kids, photos of his wives, Wives, one,
His
not,
wives.
not many wives, but photos.
Breaking news.
Yeah, sorry. Photo with his wife, or his wife having photos.
Yeah.
And we got one right after that for Thanksgiving with him and his wife to show that they're expecting another child.
Very
so I'm
nice.
like, yeah. So maybe Sam said, oh, I'll reconsider having my wife in some photos with me. I don't think that's the case. It's probably already planned, but I want to say that I'm maybe responsible for that. And congratulations to the Roberts. That's very cool.
Big congrats. That's awesome. They're going to have the trio like I have. It's a party. 3 is a party.
I have 3 as well.
Oh, that's right, man. It is crazy. I'm gonna have a lot of white hair as long as it remains. But yeah, so getting to Thanksgiving, like we'll talk more about the guys, but you were we got the host, so I was not envious of travelers like yourself. Tell us about your little Thanksgiving journey.
I would have liked to. No, I can say I would like to stay home, but I do like to stay home only because so we went to Thanksgiving in the city with my wife's family on Thursday. Great, but that Friday morning came very fast because we were on the road right at 5 a.m. to drive out to my home town in Colorado to get together with my 92-year-old mom, my siblings, and just kind of celebrate it. And we had a little party on Saturday with them. And then on the way out there, and Sam will like this, I came across Iowa 80, which is the world's largest truck stop. And man, this place is huge and has a ton of stuff. And I'm lucky enough, or unlucky, that my wife loves it too. So she had to do some shopping. I'm like, let's get going. We got to get going. So it took us about, it's supposed to take us about 14 hours to get out there. It took us about 16, 17 because there's weather getting into Nebraska. And then turned around on Monday morning, 4 a.m. Colorado time, and drove right back and got here on Monday evening. But it was a good Thanksgiving. And I know the boys had pretty decent Thanksgiving. I mean, Sam's was eventful because of his family, but Jim's Thanksgiving was a little odd. Do you remember why it was odd? Because if you don't, I have 2 reasons to share.
Yeah, I think you might remember this better than me, but they visited his family's, right? And then he had like a late meal too.
So they went to his family, and he told us that that at his family, the food was great, but his parents got a pie from Rite Aid. And do you remember how much they spent for that pie?
Under $4, I believe.
Under $4 for the pie from Rite Aid. So I don't think it was very good. I don't think Jim really enjoyed it. Man. It was odd because he had an invite from Sam to come over and have pie with him, but Jim was concerned that it was getting too late and all that kind of stuff. And I get it. Jim's very, conscientious, but Sam would have loved to have him over.
Yeah.
So Jim must have not eaten enough because maybe earlier they ate like at noon on Thursday, but they went and got Mexican food after Thanksgiving. Ooh, that would do a number on my stomach. So yeah, Jim had an eventful Thanksgiving.
Nikki, I wonder if she just is up for this type of behavior, or if she's going to start putting her foot down, because would your wife go for a late night Thanksgiving Mexican meal, Chris? I don't think mine would.
Yeah, my wife's a gamer, man. She wants to do more stuff than I do. She'll let's go do this, let's go do that. And I'm more of a homebody. So yeah, she'd be up for that. More so Dairy Queen. That's her thing. It's like she'll find a Dairy Queen wherever we are in the world.
DQ is mine. Also loves DQ.
It's like, you got to go to Dairy Queen. I'm like, I don't need Dairy Queen. I'm trying to lose weight, but no, it's a good thing.
But it's Dairy Queen.
Yes.
And I think Sam's was pretty quiet at their house. Like you said, Jim was invited, but I think just a quiet Wood Roberts Thanksgiving there. We talked about Sam's family news. That's huge. And you just mentioned Nikki. There was a lot of, these were kind of dropped in there, but a lot of Nicki Facts. I'm going to hit real quick and get your take. So it was revealed, and I know you're a big Jan Terry guy. It was revealed that Jan Terry came from Nikki. I mean, that is one of the biggest gifts to Jim and Sam fans, I think.
If you didn't love Nikki before and all her Instagram stuff, we heard that Modi is absolutely in love with what Nikki's doing on Instagram. But yeah, I mean, for me, I love her even more than I could because Jan Terry is one of my favorite things brought to the show, and her crazy song. So they revisited that a little bit. And she also brought another song into Jim's life this week, and it annoyed the crap out of him. Do you want me to sing it, or do you want to sing it?
Why don't you? I was stuck in my head all week, and I just forgot it now as we're about to talk about it. But I know the name. Let's go for it.
I can take your man if I want to. Lucky for you, I don't want to. That's something like that. I don't know.
It's like one of those fast.
Take your man that you want to.
I want to.
Lucky for you, I don't want to. Oh God. And it was in
fascinating. I
my
gotta
head and
download it.
it
So,
driving me nuts. And here's a little thing that I didn't know. I knew Nikki was younger than
oh
Jim,
yeah,
but not this young. Holy smokes,
yeah.
26. 26. My youngest is 21. My oldest is 31. So 26 is right in there. I mean, Nikki could be one of my kids.
God
That's
bless
crazy.
James Norton. I am much
God
older.
love him. More
I'm
power
much
to him.
older than Nikki myself.
Yeah.
And not just the songs, not just the age revelation. I think I don't know if this is going to make me if I should love Nikki's sense of humor or just her judge of character.
Yeah.
But I absolutely adore the fact that she's obsessed with Sandy Kane and might come to the studio just to meet Sandy Kane next time they have Sandy in. I mean,
Oh,
Nikki,
what a
just full
train wreck.
marks for Nikki. That
Yeah. Let's
one
bring her
episode
in.
this week.
Yeah,
Everything about
Sam
her.
was like, let's make sure that we have Nikki booked before we do Sandy Kane, because if Nikki can't make it and we just have Sandy Kane, he goes, I don't know if I want to do that. So yeah. They want them both in there.
Right.
They don't want to day with Sandy, but that would be eventful for sure.
We'll get to some current event fodder, which was at its best, kind of like the old O&A days, or if you even go to Jim and Sam when they were making fun of Gal Gadot's
Right.
Imagine video with other celebrities
During the pandemic, yeah.
Yes, exactly. But Cynthia Nixon's hunger strike, the way Jim just jumped into it and everyone else kind of chimed in. I think, or you know what? That's my line of the week. I'm gonna save that. But
All right. Well,
yeah,
then I
what's
don't
your
know
take
if I
on
want.
that? It was great.
I don't know. I don't want to ruin your line of the week, but I will say, just matter of factly, that she's only doing it a couple days out of the week. So someone's like, isn't that intermittent fasting? But who knows? And then they also talked about, a lot of stars will lose weight for a movie role or a television role. So maybe that's part of it. So it's convenient, but not convenient. I mean, I don't do much for people. I should do more. So whatever,
It reeks of that celebrity self-importance.
Sure does.
It is like, you're not going to cure anything. You're making a headline.
And I was always taught, if you're going to do something for somebody, do it in silence. Do it. Don't let people know about it, because that's where the true, serving others comes from.
Make a big anonymous donation. This felt just like the Imagine song to me. Like, what is this achieving?
Yes, exactly.
We've learned, and I don't know about you, but so we're both SiriusXM guys. Obviously, there are 4, I think 4, not 5 holiday stations that are all programmed in my car now. I love Christmas music, love listening to it with my kids in the car. Are you a big Christmas music guy, Chris?
Love it. Absolutely love it. Do you have a favorite Christmas jingle?
Man, I got
song from.
I will say the original Home Alone soundtrack is rockin'. I think it's the rock version of Carol the Bells is maybe my favorite, but I love Nat King Cole, Bing Crosby, all the classics. I absolutely love them. What's your favorite?
So I have, I like the older stuff because my folks were older and all that kind of stuff. The Perry Como, the Bing Crosby that they kind of played a little bit. Jingle Bell Rock is one of my favorites, from that. But then last 10, 15 years, Bare Naked Ladies came out with a holiday album, and they have some of the traditional stuff, but they did this song called Elf's Lament, which I recommend to everybody.
I love Bare Naked Ladies.
It's elves that are tired of making toys and they want to unionize. And it's a really funny, but it's really good. It's a good song. So check out Elf's Lament.
That sounds great.
I think it's Bare Naked for the holidays. That whole album is great. They even have Hanukkah songs on there because one of the guys was Jewish. So they do a lot of Hanukkah stuff in there.
Oh, nice.
It's a really great album. And that last thing on this is that they did a thing with God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen with Sarah McLachlan that is very popular.
Ooh. And all right, I'm gonna have to check out the whole album. I was a big
You're
fan.
a good man for doing so. Thank you, brother.
Gotta check it out. But so Jim does not like Christmas songs as much as we love them. Jim, it's always hilarious when he doesn't like something because there's reasons and he's gonna rant about it. But do you remember what he said? I don't remember exactly. Just that he's not a fan.
He doesn't like the Paul McCartney stuff. He liked the inside that. And he doesn't like the George Michael Last Christmas. I mean, all these songs, and Mariah Carey he hates. Jim had a week where he was a curmudgeon, man. He must be after vacation. He thought he'd come back and be all. But I love him. I hate to keep on saying this because I don't want people like you.
I think everyone knows we love him if you listen to the show.
But my goodness, Jim was kind of a jerk and a curmudgeon this week. I gotta say.
And usually he would admit that. We don't know everything that's going on.
No,
it's just 1 week.
Not.
But
yes. My wife would say I'm a jerk and a curmudgeon most weeks. So
most days for me, I would hear that as well. But this brought up a good point, a big strength and contribution of Jim. Actually, no. Before I skip ahead,
Yeah.
another thing he doesn't like music wise, and I want to know if you like them because of the pending lawsuit, is Hall and Oates. He doesn't like Hall and Oates. You probably like them, right? You're a big music guy.
Well, yeah, and I'm old. I love Hall and Oates from the 70s and the 80s. I mean, a lot of soundtracks of me growing up. But I mean, the quality of the songwriting, yes, it's all Daryl Hall. I mean, I was screaming at my radio. Oates doesn't do much except for background vocals and play some guitar.
So you were screaming, Oates doesn't do much.
Exactly. I mean, it was crazy. So they're talking about this lawsuit, and I think each guy owns, let's say, I don't know, like 20%, and then another conglomerate owns the most. And they're talking, Oates, I think, wants to sell to the conglomerate, which would they'd have controlling interest of the library of songs. So Daryl Hall, who wrote them, wouldn't have controlling interest on them as much. And they're like, well, why does he, Daryl Hall sell to the conglomerate and then they'll take Oates out of it? But I was saying, why doesn't Daryl Hall buy out John Oates? It looks like John Oates needs some money, and that's why he's selling all this stuff. So buy it out, and then you'd have controlling interest and all your stuff back. So it's a weird situation. I was just like, yeah, have Hall, but I love the music. I don't know how familiar you are with Hall and Oates music, if you liked it at all.
I couldn't even tell you names of the songs. I just know like I'll hear a song that I know I like that is universally loved, and they'll be like, that's Hall and Oates. I mean, okay.
Yeah.
So don't know much about them. I do know a lot about Jim Norton's music and his contributions.
I'm sorry that you do.
It's the best.
It is the best.
Ranges from Roe v. Wade to Don't Let Me Forget That I Danced. What was there? Was there another one they talked about?
There was so many that some of them I didn't remember but what's funny is they'll say, what, didn't that song go like this? And they start singing it, and Jim goes, yeah. And then I said something about this, and he remembers them all the time. And these are just things that pop in his head. My favorite is Don't Forget That I Dance, because Jim doesn't dance. He might pop lock, but he doesn't dance. And Don't Forget That I Danced. It's just
he really hits the dance sometimes.
Yes, he does. Yes.
And Roe v. Wade is, I remember the day.
And that was this year. I mean, recently, a year and a half. Yeah.
Just the best. Speaking of the best caller, as we've said on our show, Black Adam.
Oh, he's so good.
He's great every time. They like him. He'll be funny, and then he's gone. He doesn't, kind of like we've complimented Travis's input into the show. It's leave him wanting more. I love his new tagline, and we're going to monitor this as we do and see how long it goes. Is that what he before he hangs up, he says he's pulling out, unlike Sam did, because Sam's having another child. So.
I think it's great, and he's so sharp and so funny. If he happens to listen to the Town Square, I think it would be nice to have him on. I'd like to meet him.
It's a good call. Might be able to
get him. So if you listen, reach out to us, on our Twitter or, Instagram or whatever. Reach out. We would love to have a little conversation with you, Black Absolutely. Adam. It's funny because he calls himself Black Adam.
Yeah.
Jim will just call him Adam because he doesn't want to offend him. It's like, no, it's Black Adam, man. It's fine.
It's his name, self-appointed.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it was it yesterday's show? Thursday, I think.
Wednesday and Thursday. Maybe yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it was Wednesday. But I was, I had my phone and no text, no calls. Some of the guys know I covered the Blackhawks for a long time. The way they broke down the Cory Perry news. Jim, to set the table, basically, Blackhawks have a rookie sensation who's 18 years old. Cory Perry's a veteran player, won a cup with Anaheim, I think 05. Hawks bring him in, bring a couple veteran guys in. They have a young team. And basically, there's an incident that happened on the road, I think a couple weeks ago now, if not, a little more than a week ago. But anyways, they put him on waivers and terminated his contract because of the conduct. And the Blackhawks have had scandals, the sexual abuse scandal with the video coach. So they feel like they have to be on top of these things and make an example.
Proactive,
And so obviously the internet, you get these ridiculous rumors that this poor 18-year-old kid has to deal with, that Cory Perry, whatever. You can find the rumors. I don't like saying kid's 18. Yes, he can go to war and all that, but it's way too much. He's already got the pressure of the world on his shoulders. So these terrible rumors are flying. And in the past, we know Jim with his Roy Den Hollander situation. Jim is always so carefully from is it litigious? Is that
litigious standpoint? Yeah.
Standpoint. he usually always says allegedly right away, or or checks things. He jumped right on with
they
this
all
rumor.
jumped right into the rumor because
And
it's
it took
salacious.
a while for perhaps Travis to do some reading and said, "Oh, actually, they're saying it's a different incident."
I mean, it could be 100% true or it could be 100% false. That's why it's allegedly, because you have no idea.
You have no idea. And what has been reported by multiple people in Chicago, outside Chicago, that it was there's an incident with a team employee. The GM said doesn't have anything to do with the players or their families. So I tend to believe that.
It was a weird thing, and I think it gets to be to that point where rumors happen because the Blackhawks are keeping it so close to the vest. They're not giving out a lot of information. So if they release more information, people would know. I did hear today, we're recording this on Friday, the 1st of December, that he had a statement of apology that he wrote out.
Cory Perry released it.
Yeah, Cory released a statement of the didn't mention anything else other than, he's sorry for his actions and pretty much named a lot of the people at the Blackhawks, front office in apologizing to them. So we'll see how this plays out. But you're right. Hockey better than most people in this town. You worked on the Blackhawks, you covered it. Yeah. And you didn't get the call, man. Give my boy Scott a call on hockey related stuff. If it's stuff about being in a teen magazine, then you got to call me. But if it's stuff
that's his field.
Hockey stuff,
being a super handsome guy his whole life is Chris.
Well, a lot of things have fallen off the table
I don't know about that,
you give my man Scott a call. It's hockey. For crying out loud, he knows it inside and out.
The other detail, it was it did have to do with drinking that was widely reported as well. And he is in his statement, he acknowledged that he's getting substance abuse help and some mental health counseling. So that's the situation. Just funny that I didn't get the call, like you said, and that Jim was refusing.
It did make for funny radio when they're talking about it, though, because there's a lot of things that direction went in. So that was fun fodder. Some great fodder and another great breakdown is we love when they talk about Elon. I know you do, Chris. And Elon just letting the F-bombs fly on national news television in response to a lot of boycotts on especially Disney's, I guess, because he's mentioned Bob Iger with Twitter. And he said some what people are determining. I probably have to tend to agree. He was supporting some like anti-Semitic statements. I don't even know, but he's socially awkward, I think, anyway. Super. So he's just a brilliant guy, just weird. And and the guys even made a point of, okay, so Apple is pulling its ad stuff. Is Apple going to take Twitter off their platform as far as an app store? No, of course not. And it's, as we're trying to talk to it about, it's X, or as Sam and Nicole gave us, Twix. Twitter and X makes Twix. So I'm going to call it Twix. So who knows what Elon's up to? It's weird, and he's weird, but smart. So absolutely. And did we find out who the mystery guests for Secret Santa was? Sam broke that news. I was Travis like, Sam, that was supposed to be a secret, and Sam just revealed it. Our hosts that we love, Jim and Sam, not on their A game this past week. I got to admit, I'm the first one to be in their corner, but Jim fights with Travis. Sam's breaking news that it's going to be a great reveal when we do the Secret Santa. But who's going to be the Secret Santa? You want to reveal it here? And spoiler alert, if you don't know already, go ahead, Scott.
It's my man Denny. I think I guess
you
Denny,
called it.
You did too.
No, you called it. I thought it was going to be Nikki, but you called it Denny.
Yeah. No, I mean, good. And maybe they watched a past episode where we said we need, I think, Halloween, and we were disappointed he wasn't plugged in there.
Yeah.
Dennis the 70s Menace, baby. Awesome.
Oh, God. And I just, now it makes sense maybe who might have gotten Troy or who Troy has, because Troy was not happy this year. So if it's a Denny thing,
so happy.
Yeah. It's going to be fun.
The other kind of big news this week, Thursday, Coop's last day. We have been Coop fans since day one.
Absolutely.
We've chronicled his whole Jim and Sam journey, and he will be back for Secret Santa, as you just kind of alluded to, Chris. And I mean, just some what do you want to do for it? I'll give you the option. Do you want to? He did a great man on the street thing. You could tell it was heavily orchestrated by Mike Montone.
Yeah, I mean, I think
you want to hit that or hit his best moments? What would you like to
let's hit the man on the street, because we haven't heard him do that, and we can go through the best moments when we have enough time. But the man on the street stuff, he goes to I wasn't sure if it was Exotica or a pornography convention probably the same thing anyway.
Right.
And he was supported by what we found out is the news team. And the news team's made up of more people than I thought it was. I thought it was just going to be Montone, but it's Montone, Thumbs Up AJ, Soraya, and now Coop is part of the news team as Montone.
That's a news team you can trust.
That is a news team you can trust. So it sounds like Montone wrote most of what Coop was talking about, unless Coop was just, being questioned. It
was so people. Montone's voice. It was awesome.
It was good. And Coop was funny. He had good answers and weird things to say. So I recommend everybody going back and listen to that. But all right, so we have a couple minutes. I think we have enough time to hit Coop's best moments. You want to kind of go through them? Yeah,
and they had a great kind of great sound, and all the
montage of it, sure.
all the montage of all the segments and quotes from Coop. There was, and you got to tell me your favorite. We might land on the same one, but there was maybe the most recent was fingers in Jim's cup. I remember Jim's reaction to that.
Yeah, Jim has had that before with people, and he's always like, "Did you open this? Did you drink this water?" I'm like, no, Jim, you opened the water and you drank the water. It's your water, but I get it. That's fine. I don't want to get sick. I get it.
Right. Drinking his own urine is fine though.
That's okay.
Totally fine. We heard that not only Coop had 140K in student loans, but he said after he revealed that, he goes, I thinked something. Like he said the word.
I think instead of thought. Yeah, I think. I'm like, that 140 did a great service to you.
And actually, this one I didn't remember too much. Photoshopping report cards.
Yeah. Because he wasn't a very good high school student. And remember, he took that gap year before he went to college. And it was during that discussion when he was talking about doing that gap year that he said that he would, Photoshop. He got really good at Photoshopping his report cards, and his parents didn't know until it caught up with him. And then his parents knew. So, Troop's a little bit of a challenge, but he has two more. He has two more greatest hits.
Yes, and in our episode with Sam and Nicole, Sam sang his praises, had some good specific stuff on him. So listen to that. He did not know the difference between his anus and his buttocks. Yes, specifically. It was
very dry too. It wasn't a funny thing. Like, what's the difference between? Yeah,
your anus and your buttocks. And I think the way he said buttocks, they kept playing like on a loop. Yeah. Oh, just amazing. And then of course we have maybe his most memorable break was him bringing the recording from the submarine that exploded to the Jim and Sam show, saying that he's got this audio, and it's just a guy yelling, "Help me!" Which of course you would not be.
Help me! Yeah, you're gonna get that clear audio. Sam even goes, "That's really a good microphone."
Yeah.
Do you have your favorite?
I think the anus versus buttocks is so ridiculous. That's my favorite.
I got to go with the help me because it really kind of really sparked everything of going, is Coop really, not that bright? But he's funny. Yeah, Coop was great. And they obviously, I don't remember how many of these kind of montage and send-offs they've given interns before, but, he definitely made it to the Mount Rushmore of interns along, with Soraya and some of the others.
Yeah. So. Yeah. We have a few more minutes here. Real quick, where does he land for you all-time interns?
Maybe Soraya's kind of fallen away a little bit. I think people might have gotten sick of her, but
too behind the scenes, though. I think. No.
Yeah, I think she was number one, and I think she still is number one.
That's fair.
Slight lead over Coop, but that's my 1 and 2. How about you?
I have no problem with anyone making Soraya number one. She's so amazing and mysterious. For me, nothing gets better, and I think Rob was maybe the intern before Esloaf, but their dislike of each other, their gags on each other, those two together, put them together were the best. Coop's, you could say Coop's top 3. I'm fine with that.
Absolutely.
If you pair up those two guys. Let's go over guests real quick. Not a lot of guests. Florentine on Monday, and then you had Modi and Sebastian. Who's best guest for you, Chris?
Yeah, I'll be real brief on this because we just have a couple minutes. So Florentine was great. He's talking about the funny stories about when he and Jim were starting out and writing, and they're just keep on farting in the writer's room and calling in the producers. Typical Florentine and Jim antics. Modi was great. I didn't know he stuttered. He revealed that. And he was doing shows in Israel when the war broke out. So they were on like one of the last planes out of there. Very scary, very great stories. And then Sebastian has a new show on I think it's HBO. It's called Bookie. Chuck Lorre, who did 2.5 Men and many other shows, is working with him. So that was pretty good. For me, I loved Modi's visit. I think it was really cool. Yeah. So that was my favorite. How about you?
They're all good. Those are all good guests. Florentine has that closeness with Jim. They lived together, came up together. So I always love hearing them. Sebastian, I think he started opening for Dice after Jim. I'd like to hear more about that transition. And they both said nice things about each other in my one Forbes article. So wasn't that much of a familiarity with them though. I feel like it's weird. I feel like there'd be a little more of a closeness. I don't know.
Yeah.
Stuck out to me, but I read too much into things as it is. Florentine, I love that. I love when he's on. Florentine's awesome.
Yep.
Let's get to line of the week. And this is fresh in my mind, I'm just gonna say mine. You say yours.
You go ahead for sure.
Off. But speaking of Cynthia Nixon's hunger strike, she said, and like the release was that she has a work commitment, which is why it's only 2 days. So after they read that, Jim goes, 2 days and I got to get to set. That's my line.
Exactly. It's just such a Hollywood thing, right?
It's nonsense. How about you? Line of the week.
I have two. They were talking about Sandy Kane, and they wanted to go in and see Sandy Kane singing something. So they had to sign into Google to watch it because of Sandy Kane's content is a little risque. So you have to put in your age. Travis was doing that. And Jim said, you probably should put 100 because Sandy Kane is ancient. That was funny. But my favorite one, and there's a lot of these type of sayings going on during this week. But Sam was talking about Jim's wife, right? And he said, the old ball and chain need to do that. And Jim goes, no, balls and chain. So quick. And there was a lot of references to how Jim's wife was born. Let's just say. Oh,
that's funny. And Sam, as I've said before, he's taken on a lot of the comedy that goes to the studio, especially from Jim. Sam is taking on Jim's speed. Sam gets some really, really quick jokes in there now. Yes, thank you all. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I got one more thing. One more thing I just thought of because Nikki, following Nikki is such a pleasure. She actually mentioned in one of her Instagrams saying, a lot of people said you wanted to see me pictures as a little girl. You want, how I grew up and as a little girl. She goes, sorry, I can't provide that. Very, very interesting. Very cool. I love how they just embrace it. So yeah, absolutely. A challenging week, but not a bad week for sure.
Oh no, always good, always fine. And thank you all so much for watching and listening. Remember to go back and watch the Sam and Nicole bonus episode from last week if you haven't. Chris, thanks for everything you do, my friend.
Always a pleasure. Yes, it was a treat to work on Sam and Nicole's the special episode with you and get that all done. And this week, like I said, it was challenging. I hope that you and I never have kind of an on-camera fight, but if we do, you can find us here in the town square.
Thanks for watching and listening to the Jim and Sam Town Square. Please remember to like and subscribe and turn on that notification bell, not Doug Bell, so you don't miss an episode.
And if you're just listening to the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review. We really appreciate it.